this one because that's understandable. Client issues and not being able to get it all back. And we're just going to try to rapid fire get same picks and bans that we had until that point. So I just want to really quickly talk about the changes to lethality. We kind of touched on it last time and talked about how Jhin isn't as prevalent. And we do see Squad taking Jinx this time. But the thing about it is that lethality is it's a good stat late game. It's great and keeps assassins relevant, but it really did hurt Jhin because he loved that armor pen, especially when he had his fourth shot. Pretty much just one shotting, just going with the swag shot, killing them when they're even half health. So we're not going to be able to see that quite as often with the Jhin, but Jin's still a strong champion. Still brings a lot to the table with the curtain call, with the deadly flourishes, so it's not necessarily that bad.
Yeah, well, the thing with lethality is that it is a nerf across the board for armor penetration, because take Youmuu's Ghostblade, for example. Prior to the preseason, it would give you 20 flat armor penetration. Well, now it gives you 20 flat lethality, and when the numbers are the same on that, it's only going to give you the same amount of armor penetration when your target is level 18. So it's going to take you 30 minutes until you get the same amount of damage as it theoretically would in the past. And whenever we talk about flat armor penetration, not percentage, flat, it's always been a really strong stat in the early game before your targets can build up a lot of armor. And it just feels a little bit underwhelming later on in the match.
I'm sorry, and you're completely right, but I just got thrown off because I saw Anivia. I thought that was sad best. That's going on to Cypher.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right there. Sadbest loves that.
Yeah, so I'm actually that's why I got a little thrown off there. And I thought, oh, Sadbest gets his Anivia. I was going to talk about that. I just realized it's Cypher getting that. So that's actually a really interesting pick away from Sadbest. Almost like a fourth ban. We've talked about this several times, always in games, that people like to pick things away as a fourth ban, making sure that they're not on something as comfortable. Now we see the Ahri. Ahri is actually a really good pick against an Anivia, but you really have, if you get stunned, you're just going to die against an Anivia.
Yeah, that's the moral of the story right here. Zod has to play so far back, because not only do you have an Ahri trying to catch you out and lock you down, well, you've got a Kennen, you've got a Sejuani, a Karma to get those guys in there. The team fighting is going to be so ridiculously powerful from the Rift Kings here. The Gamers with Attitude, with these two very immobile backliners, need to play incredibly well to stay alive. They're much more about the re-engage, trying to use that Monsoon from Janna. Wings is going to have to play phenomenally well as well right here. It's just all about keeping these guys alive in the fights, making sure that they are able to survive the burst, survive the initial huge team fight ultimates, and then they're going to be able to start to win out in those ones.
Yeah, and now it makes a little more sense why they even picked the Janna. It makes it because they want to use that monster to keep Zod alive, as well as use the shield on him to get that extra damage when he has the curtain call, or even the fourth shot, get that extra AD. So it makes a lot more sense now seeing that, and we even see Cypher taking cleanse with a lot of respect over to Sadbest.
It's not only Sadbest, but Brandon and Colonel as well. Because,
true, very true.
Because if one of those stuns land, you're not going anywhere for the next 5 or 6 seconds. You can just chain those for so long, and Cypher recognizes that once again in this match, both him and Zod are the carries in this game. No one else is going to really be building damage. Blank might get a Trinity Force or something of the like, but the rest of the team is just there to set up for these backliners to dish out the damage, and they have to be so careful about the dive the Rift Kings are going to bring to the table.
Yeah, and I think it's also going to be interesting to see the early game coming in from Blink. Blink's really going to have to try to get one of the lanes rolling for them. That's what you want to do as Hecarim, because you're going to bring a lot of early game damage, high base damage, especially with the Ghost. You use that, get more AD with your passive. So if he's able to get someone rolling, if they're able to put Sadbest or Squad down, we might actually see team fights start going over to Gamers with Attitude. But we saw that they have a problem closing out games. They get a little antsy, a little nervous when it comes to actually closing out, get too afraid to make any calls, which is why we ended up seeing Rift Kings able to take that last game over them.
Yeah, and I do worry about GWA in this one as well, because they're not going to have the most fantastic late game scaling. Jhin isn't necessarily known for that, and team fighting looks very rough unless they pull out some fantastic moves to get away from the all-in potential of Rift Kings. I am a little bit worried with how the last game went and with how they have to perform and execute this team composition to make it work out. Once again, they're not going to be stronger in the side lane, so they're going to need to be able to find some sort of way to team fight better. But up against a Ken and up against a Sejuani, it's going to be a very difficult task to take on, and I wonder if maybe Blank exerts some pressure onto Colonel in this early game to try and shut him down, so that Galel can, in some alternate reality, activate some sort of a split push and make some global pressure start to unfold onto Rift Kings.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. You really do need to focus on Colonel. You need to put back one of the main components to this Wombo combo that they're bringing. You have to make sure that Kennen can't get the Slicing Maelstrom off, or even if he does, he's really weak, really behind, while Galel is able to bully him. Maybe even see a Rift Herald picked up for the side of Gabriel with Attitude, because that would make it so he has even more bullying potential, Galel over Colonel, so that Poppy can at least stay relevant through the game, or even start winning out in team fights and split pushing.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time before we do get onto the Rift here. It was such a bloodbath between these two teams last time around. Both of them had advantages throughout the game, just tossing those leads back and forth. But no one really wanted to make that aggressive call to close out the game. Or if they did, they ended up losing very, very hard because of it. A couple things to point out. There's a lot of Courage of the Colossus in this game.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. And we have a quick pause. So in that time, I'm just going to give a quick shout out to our sponsors: AOC Gaming, Go, Malta Tourism Authority, Esports Gaming.bet, Miney, GT, Omega Racing, and the Gamers Lounge. Thank you so much for being able to help us bring this tournament to you guys. Without them, without the people behind the scenes, we would not be able to give this to you.
Yeah, and without pauses, we wouldn't be able to talk about just random things for however long those ones last. There's so many different new things being brought to the table with the preseason patch, and I'm a little bit sad that we haven't got to see any assassins really brought out, because that's the exciting plays. Those are the fun ones to watch, and you can really see these mid lane carries just pop off in the games. Wherever you decide to take the assassins, even in the jungle, we've just seen tanks for the most part today. That's when I always get excited, when you see very aggressive junglers who want to go into enemy territory time and time again. But you just don't always get that, because there's such power picks on the table that can bring those AoE team fights in your favor, and that has really been what this series is all about so far.
Yeah, and I think it's mostly just because how strong that Courage of the Colossus mastery is, and that's why you see this tank meta as opposed to the assassin meta, where all the other reworks we saw, that it was like, oh, it's now their time to shine. We saw back when tanks got reworked, it was the tank meta. Then we saw the bruiser meta. Then we saw the AD carry meta, and you see all these metas coming in, but assassins, they're kind of getting overshadowed by a lot of this, a lot of the tanks, because they're more impactful in these games. They bring a lot more to the table than Assassin does, because one, lethality was, armor pen was changed to lethality and kind of makes it nerfed in the early games when Assassin really wants to get snowballing. But a tank, once they get to the late game, they're not going to be easily assassinated. You're not going to kill them. So it pretty much just hard counters the assassins.
Yeah, and that's the rock, paper, scissors of League of Legends. The assassins counter the carries, the carries counter the tanks, and the tanks counter the assassins. It's just that giant rotating circle, and based on items and whatnot, you'll see different ones sort of start to float to the top. But another thing about the assassins I really think impacts these guys is that they got changed so drastically that a lot of these teams, a lot of these players really haven't wrapped their heads around their new kits entirely. There's so many out there that if you play one game on all 10 of them or whatever, then you're not going to have a good understanding. You really have to put time in on these champions, because for the most part, Talon, Katarina, LeBlanc, Rengar, these guys feel like new champions for the most part. They have shells of their former selves, but so many abilities got changed, so many passives got altered, and it's just a completely new look for a lot of these characters.
Yeah, and I agree. It's going to be a while, probably, till we see the assassins really coming in and being able to be played, because people are still trying to get comfortable on them. And people are going to realize certain things, like with LeBlanc, where she's no longer that instant kill someone. And I've seen more people actually building the Rod of Ages kind of have a little tankier, more of like a mage style with her now, as well with Rengar, people building more of a tanky kind of style because you can still assassinate someone while building full tank.
Yeah, that's always one of those funny things right there. Just the flat damage, the base damages that a lot of the tanks bring to the table is pretty frustrating to deal with when they do a lot of damage to you just because you're super squishy and you just can't really reciprocate in that respect. We are having disconnect issues with these players, unfortunately. I think there's some issues going on with the EUS server, so hopefully that doesn't have anything to do with it.
I'm thinking that might be the issue. It's always unfortunate when you have this kind of situation happen, but it's okay. We'll be able to hopefully get back into the game soon and be able to bring this in game. Hopefully a really exciting game coming in from the two teams. We'll see if Gamers with Attitude is able to come back and be able to take one over the Rift Kings after we saw them do very well in that last game.
Yeah, they started off absolutely strong. It was just an issue of getting picked before team fights, not 5 versus 5ing. That was a big thing where GWA was split pushing and stopping Colonel from TPing in, but he was just so much more impactful in the team fights. This time around, I think it would be fantastic if GWA was somehow able to pin Colonel in a side lane because the Kennen just has such an impact on these fights, and that could be an absolute way for them to jump out ahead. We talked about how maybe Blank wants to spend some more time around that top lane, try and put him in a good position to go into a side lane during, around the 20-30 minute mark and try and punish Colonel there, just pin him over there. But Blank, he didn't do all that much in the last early game. It was Brandon who was going for the very early aggressive plays, had the Warrior, the Trinity Force on the Skarn, and this time he's going to be a lot more tankier, not going to be able to have that big impact until level 6, but he was hard farming last time around too, and once that point happened for him, he really just started to take control over the Rift.
Yeah, I was just about to say, Brandon, he didn't have that much of an impact until level 6, but once he did, he made sure to go everywhere. He was absolutely monstrous, and it's going to be very telling if Blank's able to get a good gank early on. They could swing it in favor of Gamers with Attitude. We saw what happened when they had an early lead. They did a good job in actually maintaining that for most of the game. It was just that closing out that they had a difficult time with, and if they're able to fix that issue, they probably will be able to take this game too.
Yeah, looks like a 5-point start from these guys to jump right on into things. No one wants to go for the aggressive play. That is just staying completely in line with this entire series, which really just was game 1. But no one wanted to take the aggressive moves, didn't want to take the chances and risk throwing the game. There was the one try around Baron for the Rift Kings that went horribly wrong for them, and after that, both teams really did play it controlled for the most part, and hopefully one of these teams, maybe Rift Kings this time around with this huge all-in composition that can engage fights so easily, I really do expect them to be much more aggressive in this one, and GWA are going to be playing to their every whim. I really do think, because for the most part, these lanes from Rift Kings look like they should win out all across the board.
They should, in theory, win out across the board. You are quite right. It's gonna be all on Blank. That's an unfortunate fact in this game. Is if Blank is able to make really good ganks, they're going to be able to win this game. But if not, we could see it just going horribly wrong for them. Rift Kings picking up a second win here.
Yeah, that's a very real possibility, something you have to be worried for. And if you didn't know, those new buffs, they spawn at 1 minute and 37 seconds. A little bit awkward, something you're not totally used to seeing. And one of the fun things to track with all the jungle changes coming on to the board is how these guys navigate through the dark areas of the jungle in the early game. Right now, Brandon has the early advantage, and it looks like blue into Gromp is pretty standard for these teams. The camp to avoid, generally speaking, has been the Raptor camp, as it just does so much damage. But if you've got good AoE, then you shouldn't struggle with that one too much.
Yeah, I actually read a Reddit post the other day that kind of discussed the best clear which way you should go, and it was a really interesting thing where it talks about how all over the place the current meta is for the jungle, where actually it's not obvious which one's the best because there are now more options. You don't have to start just with the buff You can if you want, but you can still start with Raptors or Krugs and actually get higher level almost quicker than you could if you started with a buff.
Well, the thing is that all the camps
But-
still give relatively similar experience as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Across the board, they did increase a little bit, so it requires one less camp to actually get into the level 4, which is why you won't see full clears be quite as prevalent. But one of the fun ones I've actually seen is you can just take 2 camps into a Scuttle Crab and go for some very, very early ganks. Be level 3 before 3 minutes.
Yep, that's the one I was talking.
yeah, that has potential to really throw off a lot of these players, because they're used to, okay, it's 3 minutes, 10 seconds, now it's time to ward, because this is the time when junglers typically gank me. Well, the jungle's completely changed, so not only do the junglers have to react to that, have to adapt to that, so do the laners, because now all the timers have been completely thrown off, and they could be pretty much anywhere at any time.
Yeah, it's really dependent on how the jungler decides they want to go around their own jungle. If they want to go for a full clear, or if they want to just do even just half a clear, just one side of the map, and then go for that Rift Sculptor, like you said, and go for a really early gank, which is completely viable. Now we see a lot of trading in back and forth in the bot lane. Zod using the exhaust on there. There comes the flash out of Zod as well as the heal, trying to get away from Jingles. As Jingles is chasing, but Squad is now fighting wings. Here comes Blank. Is Jingles going to be able to get first blood? He does. He gets the tower dive, but we also see Blank getting the kill on to Squad. Diving under that tower as Jangles now is not afraid. He's fighting both Blank and Wings because Sad Best is right there. Sad Best had roamed down to the bot side trying to see if he can't get a kill onto Blank, but Blank, being wise onto that, just backed away.
Yeah, well, he knew that Sad Best was in the area because Sad Best walked straight over that speed shrine in the middle lane, notified them immediately. But the big win is that Rift Kings, specifically Jangles, was able to get the first blood right there. That's a big advantage, and neither of the AD carries getting a kill means that it's not going to skew the matchup too hard either way. But now there's pretty much no summoners down there. Wings was the only one to hold on to his flash, at least, so expect now, top lane is not the focus anymore. It's going to be bottom lane all the time, at least for the next 5 minutes, because those guys are so vulnerable down there.
Yeah, and that's not good if you're GWA. GWA is getting absolutely punished in this top lane, as we expected from a Kennen into a Poppy. And it's going to be really difficult for GWA to try to come back into this game. He's really just going to have to try to hold on to this island without getting solo killed as best he can.
Well, it was the risk he was willing to take.
Yeah.
Colonel's Poppy was very impressive last game, and he knew the Kennen was on the table. He knew that was absolutely an option for Colonel to go for, and it's a losing lane. You just take that as it is, and know that if you don't die, you're going even. You're going to be just fine. You're expected to go down in CS a little bit. Just don't give up too much pressure, and eventually you'll get to the point where you're just too tanky for Colonel to actually go for fights against you. Yeah.
Around that 20-minute mark, you mentioned that in Champ Select, that's when Poppy can actually start having a little bit of an even matchup in Kennen, so long as she doesn't get too far behind. As we see a gank coming in from Brandon. He's looking for Zod. No summoners. You talked about that. Zod's going to drop on this one. Are they going to give it to Squad? No, Brandon gets the kill on that one with the AoE from the W. But look in the top lane. Colonel is being soloed out by Glow. We said we didn't want this to happen to him, and he's probably going to drop as we see a disconnect. The flash coming in and the minion saving the Q. There is the pause as we did see Blank disconnect in that one. So but Galal might still drop in this fight in the top lane against Colonel, but that Q hitting the minion is really bad for Colonel.
Yeah, well, there is still a Mark of the Storm on Galel. He doesn't have the shield up, and there's 1 second on Colonel's electrical surge right there. You can see down in the bottom left, so that's almost a guaranteed kill, not to mention that Colonel has flash, Galel doesn't. A little bit unfortunate that Galel just sees his impending doom and there's not much he can do about it. And especially with gank disconnecting right there, he was unable to come up top lane and assist with his top laner. But the big story is Brandon down in the bottom lane, even before he hits level 6, able to really punish Zod for blowing that flash early on in the match. And Gamers with Attitude not identifying necessarily the advantage that they could pull from a gank down in the bottom lane. Blank is just on the wrong side of the map right now.
Yeah, he's on the wrong side of the map, and There was a bit of disrespect going towards Brandon, thinking, "Oh, he's not level 6. He's not nearly far enough ahead. He's probably not going to gank." We saw last game not gank at all until I think he was level 7. But you always have to remember that he's still looking for picks. If he sees, "Oh, you're pushed up in the bot lane. I'm walking towards it. They're not reacting at all. Probably not warded. I'm going to go for a gank." Sejuani still does have a knock-up with her Q. She still does bring AoE damage with her W, and she still has the permafrost for the slows. That's still a lot of gank potential right there.
Yeah, and Squad even going for the early cult to enable him to scale even a little bit harder into the later stages of the game, and he's going to get away with it. With Zod dropping twice in the first 6 minutes, that's going to enable him to be so free down here in this bottom lane, especially because Janna lane, once again, doesn't provide all that much in terms of harassment, of all-in potential, and it's only if Blank can make his way down there that they can actually go for kills, and even then, if it's a 2 versus 2, they lose. If it's a 3 versus 3, I feel like they really do lose as well.
I mean, even team fights, it's a really hard thing unless they are able to get a good pick onto, say, Squad with a curtain call or even Jangles. Zone them out away from the fight while Zod's completely undisturbed. That's the only time it's really going to be beneficial for them. But if you're on the side of Rift Kings, you have Brandon, you have Colonel, you have so much wombo combo AoE damage and CC potential. They're not going to just let that happen.
Yeah, no, that's not gonna be the case. And Gamers with Attitude, we did touch on it, that their team fight is much more disengaged, re-engaged. They do not want to go for the all-ins. As a matter of fact, they don't excel in the all-ins. Anivia is very short range and will be much stronger if Rift Kings are running into them. Now, that being said, they do have ways to start out fights. The fun interactions between an Anivia and a Poppy, always a blast to watch happen. And Zod can make these fights start from far away as well. It's just that Rift Kings, they played much better in the last game. Gamers with Attitude, they kept it close and they had the advantages, but they were never quite able to close out the match. And this time around, they have a losing early game, a losing mid game, and I just really don't know where they're going to be able to get their foot in the door to get an advantage, especially with Zod taking such a beating early on.
Yeah, and it's almost even questionable to say they have the late game too, because whenever you see a Jinx is a monster when it comes to late game. A full build Jinx is gonna pretty much just two-shot you. 2 shots with the rocket's gonna kill you. 2 crits, boom, dead.
And I'm not sure about this. We're getting word that Gamers with Attitude possibly may have forfeited the match. That's not confirmed.
No.
We're gonna try and find that out for you guys. So just pardon us. We're gonna take a quick break while we get that sorted out. Play some music for you guys. If the action starts up in the game, we'll let you know exactly what's going on between these two teams. But in the meantime, sit tight, and we'll be back in just a little bit.
All right, so we are hopefully getting back into the game soon. I think we are able to get the players back into the game. Had those disconnect issues we talked about earlier. We're pretty sure that the EU West client is having a lot of issues right now with connection. So hopefully we're going to be able to bring this game right back to you. And I guess we'll just kind of pick up where we left off. We see that I'll briefly run down what was happening. Is bot lane, Zod just got killed by a gank from Brandon, and now we're seeing the 1v1 solo kill maybe going over to Colonel. He's about to get his electrical surge up, which is a lot of damage, and oh my. That's defeating to hear.
What?
That Blank just disconnected again.
Oh boy. Well, we tried at least. We came back when we thought it was gonna be all sorted out for you guys, but you guys, you just love the sepia tone. We get to chill out on the red. Here are, one of us has a beautiful voice, one of us has a magical one. And, you can't have both. You can't have both.
No, it's okay. I know where my voice lies, and we know it's the beautiful one. Yours is the magical one. Names are misleading.
Exactly.
Can't trust them, guys. But no, it's just defeating to hear that, and hopefully we'll be able to bring this all back to you soon, and you just are gonna have to hear me and Ender ramble on.
That's the dream, isn't it? Hearing us ramble on. Work down that pause timer. We've been going for 21 and a half minutes now. It's exciting. That's all we really have to talk about now is how close we are to getting to those negative numbers, because once it reaches 0, I talk about it all the time, we get into those negatives, and Blank, he doesn't want to see that. He doesn't want to wait till the timer gets red. He wants to hop back in, or not, maybe.
You know what's funny? It's all my time casting, I actually have yet to have a pause fully go.
See, it's happened to me a couple times. I'm used to it. I was born in the fire that is amateur, the amateur scene of League of Legends, which has
molded by it.
I was molded by it.
All right, now here we go. We're getting into the top lane. Ooh, Colonel.
Oh, you didn't go for it.
Go for it. Oh, what?
And pause again. Well, I mean, I guess in theory, if he's watching the stream, he would know exactly where Blank was on the map. So a little bit more passive. Well, we know that Galel isn't gonna die at least, so
yeah. So that's
good for gamers with attitude.
Yeah, that's good for gamers with attitude. They don't lose that cycle, but we're gonna see actually Galel still lose a lot for that. Teleport is still in Colonel's favor, and teleport's down for Galel. So even if Colonel backs, he can walk into the lane and not be at a disadvantage towards Galel. Still have the teleport advantage and be able to make a play across the map.
Well, not only that, but he could TP in and just extend his teleport advantage. But with where the wave is right now, I doubt we'll see him using that one. And still, the flash is going to be down for Zod. So if GWA's duo ever shoves up and Jangles can get a deep ward in that lane, that could absolutely open up a pathway for Colonel to utilize his teleport down there. But as it is, he's sitting on the Hextech Gunblade, as well as, or the Hextech Revolver, excuse me, as well as another Doran's Blade. So that's a ton of auto attack harass, and he's going for the W max. We've typically been seeing the Q max pop up, especially at Worlds. That was more popular, but with this sort of itemization early, it's very, very strong.
Yeah, but here comes another gank from Brandon. There's the Glacial Person hitting on the Zod and the Wings. They get the chain CC going onto Zod. Probably going to get this kill over to Squad. There's the kill. And this is great play coming in from Rift Kings. Really abusing the fact that Zod has no summons now. Oh, Zad Best with the roam getting the kill, using the Spirit Rush to get that easy kill on the Wings as he was backing.
It's just so intelligent from them. Not only is it a smart play, going bottom lane time and time again, well, the wards aren't there from Zod and Wings, and also they layer their abilities so perfectly well, which meant that even though there were a million shields going on to Zod, he still went down in that fight.
Oh, crap.
Goodbye.
Galel with the Keeper's Verdict, not engaging on Colonel and then realizing, wait, Colonel might kill me. And going, no, go away.
Yeah, the Maelstrom was just about to be available up for Colonel once again, but now even though he's chunked out more so than Galel in this lane, he is so strong because he has the flash advantage, has the ultimate advantage, and honestly, if he starts to get GWA just a little bit lower, he could absolutely go for an all-in, and Kennen is so strong in these 1v1s that GWA will have to be a little bit more passive in this lane. Just look at that damage.
Yeah, that's the thing is, Kennen is just so strong into a Poppy that you're always going to see it end up like this.
Yeah. It's just one of those facts of League of Legends. It's how it works out. More than 90% of the time, I'd have to say, because there is the potential that GWA is just a much better player than whoever he's up against on the Kennen, and he plays the matchup very well and is still able to win it out. But when these players are so evenly matched, and these teams looked very even in game 1, it just goes in the favor of whoever has the advantage in the matchup.
Yeah, it really is going to be tricky. And another problem is we've seen almost no jungle presence in that top lane for GWA to help him out against this Kennen. We've seen Blink trying to make plays in the bot side of the map because Zod really needs it. He's 0-3-1 right now on that gen. And here comes Blink. Here comes the engage trying to get squad, and they use the curtain call, but it really wasn't that great of a engage coming in from Zod or from Blink.
Well, the issue isn't that Blink isn't ganking top lane, it's that he waits 5 minutes so the summoner spells, the flashes, are back available for Rift Kings down there. Yes, he burns them again, but I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see him around that lane for the next 5 minutes, because he really has not been doing much for this early game. It's been Brandon once again jumping out to that early advantage, really starting to get this Jinx rolling, and that is something you absolutely have to be terrified of. And now Blank, he's walking up to that top lane, but he doesn't have an ult, and Colonel can disengage this quite easily.
Yeah, that's the thing about Kennen, is you talked about him being strong in the 1, but he's even stronger in the 1v2s because he can CC them up with the slicing maelstrom. Here comes the engage from GWA, flashing in and letting all this free damage come in. And that was interesting, using the Keeper's Verdict to hit up Colonel, but again, you said no ultimate coming in from Blink, so there was no onslaught of shadows coming in that could have chained the layer of the CC onto Colonel and probably gotten the kill.
Yeah, it's just a little bit awkward. Once again, Blank keeps going to all these different lanes, but they all have summoner spells available. He's not targeting in, focusing in on the vulnerable members of Rift Kings, which is the bottom lane. You see an AD carry with no way to get out, you punish that. Brandon did. It's just that Brandon has been making the plays happen, while his Blank has been a little lackadaisical.
Oh, here comes Blank. Now he's trying to go on to Colonel, but he gets stunned up by the Kennen.
I'm just at a loss for words.
Yeah, and it could be a lot of nerves. The whole disconnect issue could be a giant tilting factor that we have to consider in this. We have to take into consideration that is something that plays into the mindset of a player. If they're having issues, and actually really good teleport coming in from GWA, you're going to be able to get this kill on to squad. Zod picking up that kill. Here comes the curtain call. They're going to try to look for more. Oh, what? Wings using the monsoon and weirdly hits Jangles away to safety with that. Now here comes Brandon, maybe looking for that glacial prison. They do lock up Wings, get a decent amount of damage, flash burned by Wings, and Brandon's just going to back off of this, getting a good summoner off of Wings. And
Galel doing Blank's job for him right there with the TP in behind to really punish out. Okay, not gonna okay, Blank, he just takes the express on back, even though he does get damaged. I thought it was just like a 0.1 second delay where you could take damage before you recalled, but that felt like a little bit longer than that.
Yeah, that was awkward. That looked a whole lot like I was expecting Engage to come in from Blank and having been stopped, but it didn't actually work out that way.
The whole last 30 minutes have been kind of awkward, Magic. Not only do we have that huge pause, but then there were a lot of kills that probably should have happened that didn't happen. Blank kept ganking lanes with summoner spells without ultimate, not really getting anything. And then there's been some strange things. I've seen some things today, Magic, that I don't really want to see again.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. This is a very interesting matchup coming in for both sides. And I'm hoping soon it will normalize as we see players getting their mindset back into League of Legends.
Yeah, I do wonder what you talk about for 30 minutes of pause time.
We could play Hangman like you did that one time.
No, not even like us, but like the actual players themselves. Like, you can't actually talk about strategy for that long. I mean, it's not going to be as enforced as like LCS is.
Blank, though. Blank's going in.
What are you going to get down here?
Yeah, It's just they're too far pushed up, and sure, the summoners are down for squad and for jangles, but they're too close to their tower where they can still stay relatively safe.
Well, and not only that, but again, the Janna pickup does absolutely nothing for setting up these ganks. It's one of the reasons why you never see it picked at a professional level. On both teams, either game, it just really has not impressed. And if we do make it to a game 3, I really hope we don't see that one again, because it just it tries to stop plays from being made, but also doesn't enable your team to make plays either.
Well, you see it on the professional stage. It's just into very certain matchups. It's
a long time.
It's a long time, but it's not like a must pick kind of thing. It's more of a okay, well, they have this kind of team comp. They have we can easily kite them. They're easily kited team. Let us pick the Janna. That's when you usually see it.
Yeah, just to try and keep your backliners alive, which made a lot of sense last game for the Twitch. But again, it's just it feels like such a lack of power in the individual lane that it is a little bit questionable. And now you see Sadbest, Brandon, they're all trying to make their way down into this bottom lane once again. Going down here, Zod has his flash heal available, but because the Infernal Drake is on the table, they want another one of those. They got that one a long time ago, and they still have that mindset of get these dragons that will help us crush in the team fights, because if we can get a couple of these, there's no way we'll ever lose out.
Yeah, and the second one is where I always argue the most. That's when the power of the Infernal truly starts to shine, because that's 16% extra damage that you're getting.
Here we go! Oh, we got it!
They do get it! Blank is able to steal that away. He has been on point with the... Here comes the re-engage. They do get the Glacial Prison from Brandon onto Blink and Wings. They see Blink finally dropping because Colonel was able to get a really good teleport into that one. The exhaust being used by Wings, using the Monsoon to hit Colonel and Brandon under tower as Sadbest comes in, picks up a kill onto Zod. They Night Burning, getting the kill on Wings, and that is going to be 3 for an Infernal for going over to Rift Kings.
Well, all gamers with attitude have to do is send in Blank by himself. There is no reason whatsoever to go for a team fight because Galel's teleport was not up. That one just became available for use once again. So it's a 5 versus 4 situation.
Galel is here. He's looking for something, looking for Squad. Squad flashes away, respecting the damage that Galel can bring, even though he is tanky. They are going to try to dive him. Here come the grenades hitting Galel under the tower. A Cypher wanted to try to see if he can get the wall, the zone off Squad, and maybe pick up a kill, but Squad was not having that.
Builds the wall to make sure Squad will never make it back into his lane without a personal invitation right there. And the Rift Kings, they jump out to a gold lead even after losing away that Infernal Dragon. Games with Attitude, I really don't know why they go for a fight there. And just going back to it, these teams, especially Gamers with Attitude, they feel so jittery right here. And oh boy.
Really good stun for Sadbest and really good taunt for on Cypher. So it's really good just CC going for both sides, but we now see Colonel taking that top tower, and it's not looking good for Gamers with Attitude at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, even Blank right there, he has the kill onto Sadbest, who loses the flash, doesn't have the ultimate available, but his charge runs out just a half second before he can actually apply the red buff, apply that slow, and chase Sadbest down into a kill. It's just Blank, he's been trying so much, he's been burning so many summoners, but he's never been able to punish those lanes for it. He can't find anything whatsoever, and the high point of this early game for GWA was the Dragon Steal that was immediately followed up by a horrendous team fight, and now they're down 5,000 gold, so the Dragon doesn't even matter.
Here comes the gank in the top lane onto Colonel. Is he going to pop the Slicing Maelstrom? He's going to try to fight this back, trying to get a return kill on to Blank. Almost gets it. Was that a redemption? Someone has... No one has redemption.
No redemption.
I thought I saw.
No, that's Blank's W now. It gives you the indicator around the Hecarim whenever he activates that.
Got it. It threw me off for a sec. I was like, wait, redemption?
Yeah. I believe that was actually changed 2 patches ago. The patch before preseason. That one got swapped around. Just clarity, man. You got to make things more clear. That's what Riot is all about, and apparently, the summoner spell timers aren't clear enough. Blank doesn't realize that you want to be revisiting those lanes once you burn those.
Yeah, and I went... Well, it was smart of him to go to top to Colonel and try to get Colonel, and they got the kill onto him. But you really do need to start helping Zod, who's 1-4-1 on that Jhin compared to. And sure, it's only 1-2-4 Jinx, but still, that's pretty big.
Yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed in the itemization from Colonel as well. Typically, oh boy, mid lane.
Oh, they're looking for Cypher. Are they going to be able to get the taunt with both abilities? Really good sidestepping from Cypher.
Was that sidestepping or was that just questionable?
I'm going to give Cypher this. I'll let him have his day. That he was, he had those happy feet, making sure to have the side of Rift King guess exactly where he's going to go.
Alright, you'll be the good cop, I'll be the really, really confused cop right here. Those are warning shots. That's what all it really was. That was Xmithy combined with every other fail play I've ever seen in my life right there. Execution just not quite up to par. Once again, these guys making me scratch my head a little bit all throughout the last 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, it's been very up and down for both teams, I'd say.
More downs than ups.
I was about to say maybe a few more downs than ups.
Just like the downtime we had. There's just a lot of time to question what's going on, to ponder the fact that two abilities just missed by 5 or 6 Teemos.
Yeah. To ponder life and wonder why Teemo has to get so hard nerfed from the control wards.
To ponder why we measure units on Summoner's Rift by Teemos. I mean, it makes sense, but at the same time, it really doesn't. Teemos, really? Teemos?
You know, I guess it's something.
Oh, here we go.
And here goes the engage blank coming in, trying to get that onto squad. Gets a really good onslaught of shadows onto squad. It will drop. There's that weird indicator on blank, as Brandon is there to help out Jingles her feet and make sure at least he lives. Colonel fighting Galel over that blue buff. He wanted to steal away the blue buff from the side of Blank and from Cypher, so that way Cypher doesn't get it. But Galel not having any of that.
Well, yeah, and Colonel's actually losing these 1v1s. He's up miles in CS, don't get me wrong, but his itemization is very peculiar. Typically, the strongest build on Kennen at the moment, especially up against a Poppy or any top lane tank, is Proto Belt immediately into a Void Staff. It's so powerful, but this time around, he's got a Negatron Cloak for really no reason other than an Anivia that's done nothing in this game. Not to mention that he doesn't have the upgraded boots, so he doesn't have the extra damage there. And he also has Azonia's Hourglass, when he really hasn't been teamfighting. And a Void Staff is going to be massive in teamfights as well, just to cut through any MR that Gamers with Attitude would bring to the table. He's just favoring the survivability over the damage, and I think that's a little bit of a mistake from him.
Yeah. I think he might be going for an Abyssal Scepter as well.
That he'd have to be.
You have to. It helps out his team. It helps out that Ahri in the mid lane.
Well, I mean, Sadbest already has an Abyssal Scepter, and they don't stack.
It's already there. Yeah, I was about to say, but it's already there, so that's a very wonky pick. And now
oh boy. Not again. Not again.
Please, I'm having flashbacks to 5 minutes ago.
Oh, man.
So, we got more pauses coming in. This game is just not wanting to end. This is the game that never-ending game. There we go. That's what I wanted to say.
The never-ending
game. So even I'm having issues in speaking now.
Well, you already were having issues speaking. You're having worse issues speaking in game 1.
Now it's not just my throat hurting. It's now the brain to the mouth not being able to converse what I want to say. So my mind's all flip-flop, wishy-washy, timey-wimey kind of deal.
Yeah, well, you're just panicking because you've got places to be later on. You've got League of Legends all day, and if the pauses add another extra game onto what could be a potential 6-game day for us, it's not looking good. Not looking good.
Not looking good. And if push comes to shove, I might have to just skedaddle. But I would rather not have to do that.
Hey, I'll take over. I'll solo cast. I love solo casting. It's fun. Unless if I have a 30-minute pause and I'm solo casting, then I'll just quit right here on the spot, because that is not enjoyable whatsoever. At least we have each other to keep ourselves sane.
Very true.
But we're looking at a screen. There's literally just a screenshot. It's not going anywhere whatsoever, and
yep.
We're back.
The only problem is, can you bring the hype that I can bring
I can bring more hype than you can bring magic.
Oh, whoa. Those are just...
Look at Blank coming in!
And we see Blank coming in. There's that Zoniage, but not used with the combination of the Slicing Maelstrom by Colonel. Maybe a bit of the tilt factor we were talking about. There's this Onslaught of Shadows, but now that Blank has shown in the top lane, really good call on the side of the Rift Kings to get... I'm sure it's only an Ocean Drake, but it's still an objective.
Yeah, it is an objective, and it seems to be that Blank goes a lot for the plays top. Oh boy.
Best wants to get onto Wings, misses.
Oh!
Wings! Save, but it's the Spirit Rush that might be able to finish him off. There comes the last kill with that orb for Sad Best. That
was actually insane right there, and oh man, if Wings had gotten out, we could have had another one of those crazy plant plays right there.
See,
but again, going back to it, like Blank makes a play top lane. Well, Rift Kings, they already know what they want to do. They want to fire back, and even though they're getting this cannon behind, a Poppy's getting gold doesn't really do all that much when you're just building these tank stats. And Zod, you're just stuck here. There's no way out.
Yeah. There's no way out. He's going to be engaged upon by Brink, trying to get that knock up. The flash burn up by Zod.
No.
And no.
Oh! Not again!
Every time we think we get some action, it just comes around and bites us on the ass. But we can talk about what just happened there anyways. It's smart of Brandon not to use the Glacial Prison on that. Sure, they get the flash on Zod, but now they're going to go get the gold from getting the objective that is that tower right now. They have the minion wave in their favor. They have the members on that side of the map. So get that gold in your pocket. Don't overextend for something that you're not confirmed to be able to get. You don't know where Blank is exactly. He did back, and we do see on the minimap that he's on his way to try to gank in that bot lane.
See, I don't even want to read strategy into this one anymore. We've reached the point, and if you've been following me for a while, my casting and whatnot, there comes a point in tournaments and games when I just lose the will to go on, and this is one of those games.
Ender,
we get the yellow timer. It's happening. It's happening.
But Ender, don't lose faith in me, buddy. I have you. You carried me in the last game. I'll carry you in this one. I swear. I have you.
So by the way, what's the internet sponsor again? I forget. Since you always do the introductions, who's that?
Okay. The internet sponsor is...
I believe it's Go Malta, right?
I think it's Go Malta.
Go Malta. So, by the way, everyone in this game needs to go get that internet right here so we can actually get along with these games. They've got the fastest internet in Malta. Let's get this going. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not a sellout.
Not a sellout. Pay me. but yes, you guys. Hopefully, but I don't think that's the issue. I think it's purely a client issue with the Riot right now. There's been posts about EU West having a lot of issues right now today. So I think that's more the problem than it is with internet.
Yeah, I guess, but we could have always just tried to boost up our sponsors here, but instead you're just going to shoot me down. I'm just trying to, get us hired again next time.
Hey, it's trying to casually sell out, You just
casual sellout. Okay.
You gotta have the sellout moment and then be
Are you planning on visiting Malta anytime soon, Magical Voice?
I would love to.
Well, did you know that there's a tourism authority that you can go and set up your visit with?
Are you telling me that I should check out Malta Tourism Authority in order to plan a trip to Malta?
I think you totally should, man. You can even invite me along. I bet they have great deals.
I'm pretty sure they have amazing deals, and everyone should check them out, even if they just want to travel somewhere else in Malta.
Oh, we're getting asked for an Ender LAMA. Well, first of all, okay, honest question, because we're following along with the chat. It's a long pause, so we're gonna break the fourth wall here. Okay,
I have the chat open too, so
we're talking with chat. Feel free to ask us any questions. We'll answer those. But question to you guys now: do I drop the L in my name, or do I keep it there? Because it has a little bit of meaning, but Ender seems just more formal, I guess. It's a lot easier to remember. But does L give something to it? Does it add that much?
I think if anything, drop the the.
The was never a part of it.
Okay, because you have it in
it's in my Twitter. I actually changed my Twitter handle. It's no longer at the Ender L. It's at Endercasts.
Yay. Okay, that's better. I like that. See, but I actually like the Ender L because it almost makes it seem like it's more of an official name too, instead of just being Ender. Cause that kind of just seems a little too plain, but you got that flavor. You got that spice. That bam coming in with that L.
Yeah, see, they're telling me no L. I'm thinking no L right here.
I like the bam that it gives.
Was Galel bad? Galel's been playing this one all right. You know, you get punished in CS during the actual lane, but he hasn't died, and he's gotten a lot of help from Blank. So just him not dying in the 1v1 when it came really close, I think, was actually a success for him. And now Colonel's actually kind of getting punished in that lane. And my favorite team from the tourney has to be the Giggly Pigglies, like without a doubt. Like
that name too.
Like 100%. You can't root for anyone else. I mean, they didn't make it to playoffs, but
wait, what about the Raving Raptors? So that's a great name for a team too.
Okay.
Raving. They're like they got glow sticks and everything, man. They're just going ooh 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 ooh.
All right. If we're going favorite teams that are still in the tournament, I'd say Raving Raptors Academy, because like they had the cool story going into it, beating out their sister team, their main roster back in week 1, and we got to cast that. So that's fun. And out of all the guys left, I'd say they have one of the coolest stories going into it. We also have a question towards me: who was better, Fnatic 2015 or TSM 2016? As far as
I know who.
Okay, so I'm gonna say Fnatic 2016 or 2015. Because like their Worlds run was just so much more impactful. I think TSM had potential to make it just as far as they did, and had a very good roster, but on the world stage they didn't pan out. So they had potential to be just as good or maybe even better potentially. But it just didn't work out.
It's an NA thing at international stage.
Yeah, it's just you got to prove yourself internationally, not just at home. And not to mention, like Fnatic were like undefeated in the regular season. Like that's just ridiculous.
Yeah. They're undefeated. They had great synergy as a team. And a bigger problem is we've always seen NA teams struggle on the international stage. And we're getting into this game, but Wings is still disconnected. I think it's purely because the pause is about to run out, and they're really hoping that Wings gets back.
Hopefully, cross your fingers.
Cross the fingers. Hope that this happens. That right now, this is why you guys need to get good internet with Go, guys. Make sure to hit them up, because we want to make sure these games continue and we can cast these lovely games for you.
Yeah, the next time I go to Malta, I'm gonna use all that. I'm gonna get the solid internet, get the tourism package. I'm gonna get it all.
And do you want to have some fun racing stuff? You want to have fun with go-karts? Because I'm pretty sure GT...
No! No! You jinxed it.
I didn't jinx anything.
You jinxed it.
I said Wings was still disconnected.
Oh boy, what you gonna do right there?
You know, that would actually be kind of cool though, if this all became big and then we were like the casters for these tournaments always, and then went out to Malta. And
we're about to get red. We're about to get red numbers. It's
I've never had this. This is my first time.
It's really exciting.
You're here to pop my cherry.
Oh god. Oh god. What is happening? Please no. Please no. And we're in the red.
Oh,
we did it. Red. We did it.
We did it.
We're about to get negative numbers. Dude, I'm so excited. Negative numbers is like what I dream for when I cast here. This game has like been longer than the last one, and we're like half the actual game timer.
Yeah, 24 minutes, and we've spent about 30 of it, and 30 additional on top of that as pause. And Wings is just not able to connect at all. This is
all right. So some more questions are coming in.
All right, more questions.
And we have a question, MVP of the match. It's really hard to say an MVP just yet. I mean, last game.
Let's do last game, because this match, it's too soon. We can't decide who's MVP on this one.
Last game was hard.
I would have to give it to... Who would I give it to?
Last game was really hard. I honestly... Like, as far as team fighting went, I feel like the Twitch was really impactful. It's really hard to say for last game.
I'd give Squad a really good...
Oh, it's negative now. Okay, we did it.
So I think I'd give it to Squad, because he had really amazing flanks.
That's what I was thinking too.
Set the momentum for the team, and without this flanks, they wouldn't really be able to do that. And here comes the game starting, getting unpaused because we were in the negative numbers, and Okay, now I'm confused. So what happens after we get negative numbers if they try to pause? Does
It
actually
just continues from being negative. It just goes deeper and deeper negative. Because
It doesn't
it
actually
won't
stop
it
the
won't
game?
cancel the game ever. It's just
Oh.
it's just used for like organizers to figure out how long the game has actually been paused for. If you have like rules against pausing for upwards of however long or whatnot.
Why not just make it an hour then? You know, I mean, if it's gonna, there's no actual set limit, so that way you can manually do it. It's like, oh, you know, if it's the 30-minute mark, then you have this, and then
See, now I wonder, because there's actually like in coding there's like the magic number where like timers just like get destroyed at.
Yeah.
And we could potentially, if we go long enough, I wonder if you can go from actual negative numbers to positive numbers. Once you reach around, it's somewhere in the 2 billion, so we'd never get to it.
Yeah.
But, like, I wonder if that would actually happen. And no one's ever tried it, I'd have to say, but it's possible.
Blank getting engaged upon in his own jungle, taking a ton of damage from Sad Best as Zod uses that current call to try to zone away Squad and Jangles. Jangles forced to flash because of the good wall coming in from Cypher.
Yeah, there's always ways to hop over that wall, get on through, and that's exactly what Jangles did right there. Again, it feels much more relaxed of a game. These teams are trying to go for the engagements, the pause lasts a million hours, and then nothing ends up happening because of it. Just a lot of damage being traded back and forth.
Yeah, a lot of damage, and trying to get these engages teams, and even us as casters are getting a little tilted from this. I can only imagine how they feel, being the players just wanting to play this game and not being able to due to connect issues. It must be something that does take a toll on your mental psyche.
It definitely does, especially if you're the team in the lead, because it kind of ices you out. All of a sudden, you had this big advantage, you were going strong, and now every time you go for a play, it seems like there's a pause going down, and even though you know there's technical issues and whatnot, you feel at the same time that maybe they're just doing this to get in our head. Oh, Blank, what are you doing?
Oh, Blank wanted to use the blast gun to try to engage, but didn't realize Sad Best and Jangles were both there, ready to engage on if he went for Squad. And then Galal trying to go on Colonel in that top lane. It has passed that 20-minute mark, even though it feels like it's been an hour. So Galal might start having an easier time. Here comes the Glacial Prison hitting Blank and Cypher, but no follow-up. Interesting Glacial Fissure being used by Brandon.
Message received, says GWA right there as they go ahead and recall. They don't want to mess with these guys here, but that's a big ultimate gonna be down. I don't know if Blank wants to fight this though.
Does he? He's gonna take a lot of damage for his Trouble Spirit Rush being used by Side Best to try to stay out of this. Galel in the deep line, taken out by Brandon with the curtain call in the back line, trying to do its best. Cypher forced to flash away. He used both cleanse and flash because he did get knocked up and did not want to drop. He had the egg, but he still would have dropped had he even bursted the egg.
Yeah, now that turret gonna go down no problem because they got the kill, because they zoned Gamers with Attitude out of their own jungle. They're able to move from lane to lane and start to secure these objectives. Speaking of which, they're gonna recall here. They are pretty low. That's gonna be just in time for the next dragon. That's gonna be spawning in 30 seconds or so. That'll be a Cloud Drake, not the most impressive of Drakes, even though you love it nonetheless. But it's just one more advantage to just add on to onto your stats right here with an 7,000 gold lead. Just anything you can get to pad your stats is definitely well received.
Yeah, you want to pad your stats as best as possible. You want to look to try to end this game, because you don't want to have the same struggle that we saw Gamers with Attitude have last game with closing out. When you struggle to close out, that gives such an advantage to the team that isn't trying to close out, that's just trying to stay in, that even their mental psyche, when they go for that, they're now saying, hey, we're winning these fights. Even though we're down, we're winning. We have a chance. We can do this. We can do this. They constantly are able to ramp themselves back up, get into the game, and pull off that amazing victory.
Yeah, and even though Squad and Jangles got a ton of assistance to start off the game, Squad's been having a tough time as well. He's sitting at 3 items, so he's doing better than Zod as far as itemization is concerned, but he doesn't have that impressive of a scoreline, and right now, it really has been the Sad Best show, roaming from lane to lane, getting those kills, and I have no doubt that Squad can come online in these fights, but it just has stemmed all from that very early aggression down in the bottom lane, where both junglers, the top laners even joining in on the fights, really trying to punish.
And that's what you really want to see from Galal, is that he stayed even enough. I'm not saying he's not even, but when you're against a Ken, it's really going to be hard for you as a Poppy. And he's made some good pressure across the map as best as he can, being on that Poppy into this matchup.
Guardian Angel on Colonel.
Oh, wow.
Wow, and he's actually looking for the flank right now. They might just open up and try to fight this.
Looking for it. He does miss the taunt, but we do see Colonel trying to get into there. I'm surprised we didn't see that flash engage coming in. Here comes GWA. The teleport probably is what made them want to disengage, but all the shots from the curtain call are really going on to Brandon, who's tanky enough to be like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, it's actually Gamers with Attitude on this pit right now, but they have to be so worried.
But here comes Brandon, only hitting the Glacial Prison onto GWA. Here's the Onslaught of Shadows, trying to find Squad as we see Colonel in the back line. He's using that Lightning Maelstrom, then gets hit away by the Keeper's Verdict to get to his team. Now we see, actually, GWA able to get the kill on to Sadbest. There's a re-engage coming in.
Oh, that wall!
The wall, beautiful wall, making it so that Brandon's completely zoned away from the rest of his team. John flashing in to get the kill onto Brandon. This fight is going in favor of Gamers with Attitude.
Are you kidding me? That's the disengage re-engage we've been talking about all game long. Cypher playing phenomenally well. Oh, Squad, he has to flash out. They got the kill.
Yeah, Zod got dropped by Jangles. Jangles able to secure the kill for Squad in that one. You wanted to go over to Squad, but it does go in their favor. It really helps out the side of Rift King, who did lose that fight. Very amazing walls coming in from Cypher, and sure, we saw a questionable Keeper's Verdict by GWA, but the re-engage that consistently came out from them was what won them that fight.
Well, honestly, too, it has so much to do with the really, really poor itemization from Kennen. Yes, he doesn't go down in the fight. He has the Guardian's Angel, but you need to do so much more damage on this guy, especially when your AD carry is struggling a little bit. You want to carry out of the top lane with the cannon, and that's not the route he has decided to go for in this game. Not to mention that the initial engage with him coming around from the side did not pan out. Cypher played that way too well.
Yeah, Cypher did a great job with those walls. We talked about that before. I think also another thing was Brandon, he used the Glacial Prison, only hit onto GWA. It wasn't very useful. Now Blank's being engaged upon. Here comes the taunt hitting onto him. They're probably going to be able to get Blank. There goes the kill onto Squad, who you really do want to pick up these
They can
kills.
go Baron here.
Yeah,
they have the TP advantage from Colonel, and he's just pushing in the bottom lane. They're not even gonna try and contest this.
Yeah, we see Wings and GWA. They're going to the bot lane, trying to see if they can stop Colonel. Here's the heroic charge hitting Colonel into the wall. There's that Baron start coming on the side of Rift King. Really good macro play coming from their side. Cypher and Wings, they sniffed out that what's going down, use the redemption to try to get a little bit of true damage on to them, but we're gonna see Jangles. He had to flash in a very defensive way. They're trying to make sure to get this. Who's it gonna go over? Brandon is able to smite it. The taunt missing, but flash out from Cypher, who still has his cleanse. He uses the cleanse on that ability, getting out of the Glacial Prison. Really wise choice from him. As we see, the curtain goal did not sniff out Jangles in that Baron pit, and he's able to survive.
Have you seen Sadbest land a charm all game today? Because he really has been
very few.
He's been missing out on those time and time again. It really is awkward to see him on this Ari. He has such an impressive scoreline, but he's just not connecting with the abilities, and he could be doing even better for his team if those were actually landing. And you look at his counterpart, Cypher has been doing such a fantastic job of farming up. 310 CS at 33 minutes is just on pace pretty much for that 10 a minute mark.
Yep. And that's how it is to be an Anivia too. We see that 002 score for Cypher, but 300 CS is a really good score that you really want to be having at this point of the game.
Yeah, he's tied in gold with Sadbest.
Yeah, he's tied in gold with Sadbest, and that's just because he's been farming like a monster. He's making sure to do his part as Anivia. It's, I won't die, I won't be that, but I might not necessarily be the most impactful.
Oh, Jangles!
But Jangles caught out. Really, these walls from Cypher are what are keeping them in this game.
He is doing so phenomenally well, and Colonel can't win the 1 versus 1 split push anymore. GWA finally gets a more aggressive item in the Iceborne Gauntlet. Not to mention that Colonel, without a Void Staff, with a Guardian's Angel instead, that's going to do almost nothing for you in a 1 versus 1 duel in a side lane, because it gives you very little stats. The active the passive ability is really what you want out of it right there. And
oh, and he misses the charm, hits a minion instead of.
Oh!
But look at that! That is what you need. You get a great glacial prism like that. That is going to start out the fight. Colonel able to get the teleport play. That is going to be 4 kills going over to the side of Griff Kings. That is going to be towers going down as GWA didn't even have a chance to come into that fight because he didn't even have teleport.
Well, he canceled the TP he could have, but he saw his backline get exploded to start out the fight. That was ridiculous. The 4-man Glacial Prison from Brandon into the Maelstrom, just tearing apart the team, and Squad does so much damage when they are locked in place for the Rockets, for the Runons, and this inhibitor tower. There's no way they're going to be able to hold on to this one. It's just GWA against the world.
GWA against the world and baroned up minions. And, oh, hey, he gets the taunt onto GWA, but GWA was able to stop that. Look at that shield he gets
that was Courage the Colossus via his W right there.
Yeah, I told you that you can proc it. And that shield is just absolutely monstrous.
That's actually really funny right there of an interaction because, oh boy, can he land the shots?
He's landing the shots on Squad, dodges that last one. Oh, dodges the last 2. So he's gonna keep himself safe.
GWA
Wants to go in on
what?
This. Here comes the Redemption. The Redemption's gonna be able to heal up Squad a massive amount. Wow, that does a lot more.
That range is the insane part.
Yeah.
Jangles from halfway across the map popping that one on himself, and you know, they didn't have the opportunity to end there. They had to go through too many turrets, didn't quite have the minions.
Yeah,
but that is
no way.
such an advantage going into the rest of this game because now they have an inhibitor down. They took that one out, so this Elder Dragon going to be increasingly simple for them to take. They just have to worry because Colonel is up in the top lane. If Gamers with Attitude pick a fight right now, they will not be able to have the numbers needed to come out on top.
Yeah. Well, you mean Gamers with Attitude or Rift Kings?
Gamers with Attitude. No, Rift Kings.
Yeah, okay, I was about to say, I'm pretty sure Gamers with Attitude are the ones with the advantage right here. But now we do see Colonel making his way down bot, trying to see if he can get into... He's going to get there in time. They're going to be able to defend this tower. And the next objective is really going to be the play around this Elder, in my opinion. This is where we might see, if Gamers with Attitude backs off too far, we can just see it bursted down by the side of Rift Kings.
Yeah, they have to give up control. There's super minions flooding into the base, and GWA's teleport won't be up for the next 30 or so seconds. There's a ton of pressure RK have around this one, and they're starting it up. Cypher is so big a part of their team, and he's the one clearing the minions.
Because he can clear the fastest.
All you can do is steal here.
Yeah, they're going to try to steal. They're going to try to get Blank in. He's been doing a great job with these steals so far.
Oh, boy, got it!
They get the steal again! Blank is a monster with those might, but he's going to drop. That is going to be a death on him. But they do get the Elder. He is great with these smites.
Wow, so incredible there. He even went in way too early, but Brandon letting that one go down to 600 health does not pop a smite of his own. Can Rift Kings get anything here? They still have the numbers advantage for 35 more seconds. Super minions in the mid lane, big wave building up in the top side. They could potentially get at least one turret down here in the bottom lane, and even after that, they might want to look on forward. There's only 2 dragons buffing up Gamers with Attitude alongside that Elder, so it's not a huge advantage for them. Wasn't going to benefit either team all that much, but the Baron has worn out, and honestly, the low HP bars, they should probably back away.
Yeah, definitely, but you also have to remember, one of those dragons was an Infernal, so that's still a pretty decent chunk in your favor. That's going to give you, I think, 24% more attack damage and ability power. So that's nothing to scoff at.
I believe they only have 1 Infernal Drake.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's times 3.
No. It's half it. So they'll have 12%. Increase.
Wait, it's only half?
Yeah, it's only half of the benefits you already have.
Oh, really? I thought it was more than that.
Nope.
That's a shame. That really makes.
That's a shame.
That makes Elder almost seem worthless.
Yeah, it's not as good as it used to be. Yeah, I believe it's easier to take down though now.
Oh, is that okay? So they nerfed.
No. This is what. Yeah, they increased the buff duration from 2 minutes to 2.5 minutes. So it is a lot stronger because before it seemed like that buff didn't last for any time whatsoever.
It lasted for about 1 fight.
Yeah.
So I mean, still it lasts for about a fight and maybe like a quarter of another fight, but still something. And Squad does not want that blast cone to be used against
Yeah,
him,
with
so
the Baron in 15 seconds, you do not want those to be available. It just gives too much opportunity to whoever's trying to get into that area, and they will be up against the Elder Dragon for just a little bit longer. It looks like maybe 20 seconds left on that buff, so they don't want to start it up too soon. But GWA, they still want to fight. Cypher is so unbelievably strong right now.
Yeah, Cypher is the key member, and if you're able to start a fight with Cypher not being there, this is the time to go.
Oh, that popped the Colossus. That's 30 seconds.
Oh, but look at Blank. Blank is way far out. He's gonna go down way too fast. We do see it. There goes the Keeper's Verdict, only hitting Brandon.
Oh boy.
Here comes Colonel. Colonel wants to get in. Good Monsoon to keep him out, but they still get the kills on the Winged and Zod. This is going to be the engage onto Cypher. Cypher's in a really bad spot. A Squad went really far in, taking a little bit of the tower himself. They get the kill onto Galel. Double kill going over to Squad. They're going to get the stun.
Oh!
Oh, and there he goes. That's the thing about Anivia. You can never underestimate the damage if she gets the stun. But the egg has been popped. She's going to try to get out of this, but gonna drop. Ace going over to the side of the Rift Kings, and most likely gonna be the game.
20 seconds left. Wings won't even be there when he spawns. And, okay, they're all just gonna leave.
Galel got disconnected too, and I think that is gonna be the end of the game
Yeah.
here. We're gonna see another inhibitor tower go down, another inhibitor going down as well. Cypher has another 40 seconds left on him. So, and sure, we see Blank and Wings.
They're backing away. They're not doing it.
Whoa.
Rift Kings, no, end it, please, our misery, please.
They're going for the safe and the secure win, but
not like this.
Not like
this.
Not like this. This is where we just are grabbing our hair. And we're just
No.
like, why you do this to us?
They're coming back because the game isn't actually over. Look at this.
Why you do
this?
They
thought it was over.
Why you do this?
Oh my god. Are you kidding me? Alright, well, the game's gonna continue to go on, and Gamers with Attitude, they fire back with a turret in the bottom lane. It's not enough. It's not it's not enough.
So if you guys don't know, I'm making shirts now for my stream, and one of them is it says "I'm dead inside." That's how I feel right now.
Dead inside.
that is my inner
I was just asked if I enjoy casting this game. I love casting. I love League of Legends. I love the Malta Cyber series. I have no love whatsoever for either of these teams anymore. I mean, GWA, they could simply forfeit. Rift Kings could end.
It's not there. They want to play a competitive game of League of Legends. They're trying to have fun.
Then why'd they leave?
But for us as casters having
oh, Colonel, he's getting run on down bottom lane. Look at this. He's one man against the world.
You see the Baron gonna go over to the side of the Rift King. And Colonel doing his damnedest. He does have Guardian's Angel, and if they're gonna chase this far, this could just be an end coming in from the side of Rift Kings, with Colonel just kind of stalling them as long as possible. Here comes Jangles just running straight into the base, not caring, just trying to get rid of this minion wave. As we see Gamers with Attitude trying to rush back in time to stop this incoming minion wave.
Oh boy. Well, that might just even stall out the game for another minute or so, because 4 versus 5, I mean, honestly, Rift Kings could potentially win a fight. I don't think it's too far out the realm of possibility, but again, the egg is down for Cypher, but now he has the Guardian's Angel. It's just going to be so hard to take this guy down, and I'm blinking. There's no caster cam, so I'm blinking. I'm being forced to say all these things right now, guys.
Blink once for I'm fine. Blink twice for.
I'm blinking twice. Send help.
Blink 3 times for dank memes.
Get me out of here.
I'm gonna blink 3 times for send dank memes. That's all I need in life.
Wow. See, that's how I know you're done casting, is when you start bringing memes into the mix here. Colonel has TP. Maybe, I mean, just TP onto the minions in mid lane and go for a fight. Just pull the trigger, go for it. Either way, I mean, neither of these teams can possibly want this game to go any longer, can they?
Apparently they do, because we are seeing this game still go on, and I like how we've casted together so many times. You know when I've reached my point is I start talking about dank memes, and you've reached your point when you're just treating chat. We know how it goes.
Hit the turret! Just hit it! You have a jinx! You can hit that one from so far away. Just do it, please, for us. Alright, Colonel, okay, we're setting this fight up. It's about to happen. Colonel's
so
in the mid lane. He's escorting the minions in, so he's going to be
a smart move.
looking
Smart move for him because it's going to make it so that he brings a lot of... It's going to force someone more like Cypher or maybe even Zod to have to go clear that minion wave.
Oh, look at these walls, they're just stopping.
Yeah, these are great. Like, I've applauded Cypher on his
walls all
game. The job he does. Jangle's getting hit up. Oh, the damage onto Jangle's coming in from Cypher. You have to fear the bird. Bird is the word, and he is going to do absolutely massive damage if you're stunned up.
Honestly, there's a world in which GWA actually win this game, honestly, off the back of Cypher, because Rift Kings, this is the flip side. Last game, GWA had the advantage, and they never actually cashed in on it. Oh, here we go!
They're looking for Cypher,
or not.
Way from the Glacial Prison. Really smart move. He had to use a lot of summoners, and now Blank. Blank is trying to go in and get us a lot of damage, but look how much
damage.
Colonel using that great slicing maelstrom gets a double kill on the Zod and on to Blank, but he has to use his Guardian's Angel, and they pop the Guardian Angel of Cypher. Here comes the egg as well. My god, that's such a hard bird to kill. Finally, they drop him. This Wings dropping. Only Galel is left. This is going to be game number 2, going over to Rift Kings after...
Knock on wood, please!
After about 75 minutes, this should be the game. Minions are in there. There's no way that they can come back unless we see a forfeit coming in on the side of Rift Kings. But there we go. Game number 2 and match set for the Rift Kings here with the AOC Malta Cyber Series Masters.
And that is a 2-0 for Rift Kings. We're not going to beat a dead horse. They win it in 45 minutes. We're going to a break here, right now. We're going to try and get into the next series.
MVP, really quick.
No MVP. I don't even care. Squad, sure. I don't care. I don't care about MVPs. I don't want MVP. It's actually Brandon because he crushed in the early game. But we're going to a break. We're going to break right now. Don't go anywhere or go to sleep. I don't care. We'll be back for our next series in as fast as we possibly can.
All right, got the game.
Yeah! Go! Pass the ball! You can look at the ball and walk backwards. You see, that's how you do it.
Watch TV anywhere for free on 4G. Now that's something worth shouting about.
What if we could change the way we see the world? Rediscovering ourselves through the people we meet and the moments we share. Each experience, every encounter, changes our perspectives, leading us to live life our own way. Money my way.